Welcome to Coding After Work stream. As usual, we will take this opportunity before we bring in our guest to thank our sponsors. The first one being Progress Telleric. They support developer communities with, for example, sponsoring streams like this. They also make amazing Blazor components. And in the latest release, they had more than 65 truly native components. And this makes them, again, the largest Blazor component suite on the market.
And the second sponsor we have is 1337 or 1337, a knowledge-driven consultancy company that specializes on innovative custom-built software solutions. Thank you so much for helping us do things like this.
But now, we have a guest.
We have a guest. Let's see if my mouse works this time.
It did!
Hi, friends. Hello.
How are you doing?
They're building in the room next door, and you're going to be hearing noises. So it's been a huge week for me because I'm getting construction done on the house. It's like, oh, I've been waiting so long for this.
Well, when it's done, it will be amazing.
It'll be amazing. So, hi, my name's Jeff. Nice to meet you. I live in an older house, and the windows were very drafty on it. Like, we had a storm a few weeks ago, and you could feel the wind, even though the windows were closed, whipping through the house.
Ouch.
I'm like, it's time. So all of the windows are being replaced. All of the siding's being replaced. It's a huge, huge thing. I'm so excited this is being done. And that's some of the noise you'll hear in the background and why I'm on a closer microphone today. But how you doing?
Well, we're doing good. There might be some noise over here as well because we are still cat sitters to two screaming cats. They're only screaming when we're not giving them attention.
Maybe they misheard. We said streaming, not screaming.
Oh, might be. Speaking of cats, did Jasper ever get his own Instagram account?
Wait a sec. Hang on. Asking about my cat. If my cat got an Instagram account. What? Are you kidding me?
I heard rumors.
Rumors that my cat was going to get an Instagram account? No.
Uh-huh.
No.
Yeah.
It's not. No, not
okay, Jeff. Not okay.
Unless one of the daughters is managing that account.
Yep, we got to make that happen.
Yep. Could we possibly get her email or something?
You are such a bad influence.
I know, but you like it.
I do. Oh gosh! All right, we'll figure out something so the cat has his own Instagram. Oh my goodness!
As he should have.
He should? What about the dog? The dog should have his own Instagram account too. What about the guinea pig?
Well, cats rule. Well, the guinea pig. That's the whole thing.
The horses have their own Facebook pages, okay? Let's start there.
Okay.
That's a thing.
Okay, so the horses could get the Facebook page, but Jasper couldn't get a measly Instagram account?
The horses are a little
okay, I will let
social
this
media
slide.
friendly. So, oh my gosh. This can be no good. This can be no good. We'll figure something out, I'm sure. Oh, the idea has been planted. Yeah.
Whoops.
There's a thing now. All right.
Might have been me who started the rumor. I'm not saying it is, but
okay. So, I'm
so
realizing...
the stream is over.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a good one. I'm realizing I'm wearing another tech conference T-shirt here. my wife absconded with my Svetog sweatshirt. It's like all of the cool swag I get from conferences, she runs off with. She's got a fine collection of Microsoft Ignite backpacks.
Well, that's nice. Next time we have to hook her up with her own as well.
There you go. She took the other sweatshirt I got from a European conference when I spoke at a Red Hat event in Czech Republic. Got a nice heavy hoodie. Feels really good. Yeah, she has that one too. Like,
I love the hoodies.
Mm-hmm.
The NDC hoodies, they're great.
Yeah.
They're great.
Oh, yeah. See, I give up jerseys. Jerseys just feel like a thing. That if you're going to be on Twitch here, you might as well have a team jersey. That's a thing. So, right?
There you go.
All right. So what do we want to learn about today?
What do you want to talk about? So I've heard that we promised something .NET 5, something Blazor.
Okay.
So I'm thinking something along those lines.
Something lines something. All right. We can talk about that. I have some slides from some sessions that I've been giving. We can talk through a little bit of them, and then can we do some live coding? Do you mind if we do some live coding?
We would love live coding.
I'm a nut for live coding. I really enjoy it. I'll let you see this.
Should we start with .NET 5?
We should start with .NET 5, where it came from, where it's going, some of those things. Let me share my screen. I'm going to share, not a screen, but I'm going to choose a window, and I want PowerPoint. Yeah, do that one. Yeah, look at that. So I'm not going to go into full screen. Hide the notes panel at the bottom there. There we go. And I can do that thing. Yeah, almost looks like full screen, but close enough. So many things. .NET 5, right? .NET 5, big update for us, right? We lost the core, right? It's no longer .NET Core. It was .NET Core 3.1, 3.0, 2.2, 2.1, 2.0, 1.1, 1.0, and Project JSON before that. Project K and all that stuff before that. But there it is over here. .NET 5, we lost the core and we moved to calling this just .NET 5. So let's talk about .NET 5. Let's talk about Blazor and C#9. We get a new version of the programming language coming along. So what's that mean? What do we have in store for us? Well, available right now is .NET 5. You can build single file applications, smaller container images. So we're working on making .NET smaller to deploy. There's web and cloud investments because we want to make sure that you have a great experience building for the web. Desktop development experience, Windows ARM64 support, continued performance improvements. It's now the fastest framework on the Tech Empower benchmarks. It isn't the latest full benchmark of everybody isn't published, but the intermediaries show that ASP.NET Core on .NET 5 is the fastest web framework available. C#9, F#5, all that and more. Get .NET/get-.NET 5. But what's that really mean, right? How did we get here? What are we looking at? Let me go down and let's talk about how we got to .NET 5 and why .NET 5. .NET framework, and .NET and Xamarin, we had these three .NETs, right? Gosh, you folks, you work in Mono a bit, don't you? Doing some mixed reality stuff. That's fantastic with Unity and all those great tools. And when you want to deploy out to mobile devices, you've got all that right there. And of course, .NET Framework on Windows and all that stuff. So we've also got .NET Core kind of in the middle that does all the web things really well, and it started to get into desktop applications. And for this wave of .NET 5 and .NET 6, we wanted to have a great story where everything came together and we had one .NET. Where's my sound effect from Highlander? Right? That's a thing. There can be only one, right?
There can be only one.
How do we get there? What's that mean? So we looked at .NET 5 and said, there's a lot going on here. .NET Framework does what it does. Let's keep it parked. It supports Windows very, very well, and it's a Windows component. It ships with Windows. Let's keep it shipping with Windows and do great things with it. .NET Core 3.1 will evolve into, well, we were going to call it .NET 4, but we've already got .NET Framework 4. And if we have .NET Core 4, that's really confusing. So let's skip 4 and go right to 5, because that's the next cool number after 4.
So you did a Windows 10.
Right, but 7, 8, 9. So we got to 10. That right?
No.
That was
Fair enough.
That was
Fair
the
enough.
joke. I don't know if that translates well, but in English it sure sounds funny. But Mono and Xamarin, we wanted to get that into .NET 5, and of course, there's a lot of stuff going on there to try and merge Mono and Xamarin. So we have one SDK, so we have one base class library, so we have one way to build things. And over the course of a year, trying to evaluate and get that in there it was a lot. And throw pandemic on top of there, and you know what? Let's make sure we do this right. We've got a lot of moving pieces here. It's a big move to get it in there. So let's push it back a year to .NET 6, and we'll have a concise story that we can build on over the course of a year and a half when we made that decision to push Mono and Xamarin integration out. Let's make sure we do it right. So .NET 5 was released in November 2020. .NET 6 is scheduled to be released November 2021. So what? We're about 9 months out from the release of it, and the team is hopping. They are heads down working hard on getting .NET 6 ready to go. But we haven't even seen a preview release for that yet. Not even a nightly build yet. We're still looking at .NET 5 and making sure that we have a great experience with Blazor, desktop apps, and paving the way for that, what's coming next into .NET 6. So there's a bunch of things that happen with RTMs where we consolidate down to just the .NET 5 RTM, right? We have now just the .NET 5.0 RTM, and we get rid of this concept of runtime identifiers specific to the various operating systems. That was confusing. Get rid of that. And since we're coming down to just one .NET, we don't need .NET Standard anymore because everybody builds to .NET 5. So .NET Standard 2.1 is going to live on with .NET Core, .NET Core App 3.1, and you'll still be able to target all of the .NET Standard versions, and all of the .NET Standard versions will be compatible with .NET 5 going forward, all future versions. So .NET 5 discussion, we're in great shape. We're going to put these suffixes after the RTM, the target framework monikers, so that you know we're building for Windows, Android, iOS, whatever operating system comes up next that we need to specifically target differently, right? I don't know, Palm OS, is that a thing still? Sure, if we need Palm OS, it's over there, right? I don't know. So we're seeing good things. We're seeing big things that are really cool that are coming along with that. Visual Studio 2019 has .NET 5 in the box. I think we're on a 16.9 Preview 3 is the current version that we have, but 16.8 is the version that has .NET 5 and all the templates, RTM available for everybody to use, great productivity enhancements, improved IntelliCode, better Git experience, a new and improved Git experience. It's really great to use. You can change branches just with a click down in the status bar, and the appearance on the left side, it's no longer very, very team server centric. It really feels like you're in a Git experience. Debugging with Linux, and we saw there was a blog post. I don't know if you saw this. There was a blog post over on the .NET blog. I think it was this week or last week. The folks from Blizzard Entertainment are talking about how they're using Visual Studio 2019's new Linux debugging experience to debug the servers for Diablo 4 that they're building.
Cool.
Nice.
Really cool blog post. Check it out over there on devblogsmicrosoft.com. And you can check that out and see how they don't go into the specifics of here's how we're using and here's how we're building Diablo 4, but they talk about what a great experience it's been for them in improving that. GitHub Actions, gosh, I know you two have heard this because you've joked with me on this. Friends don't let friends right-click publish, right?
Mhm.
But I love that it now will generate the GitHub actions for you and publish them. If you're using a project that's wired up to GitHub, it'll automatically create those GitHub actions for you to deploy to Azure or wherever it is you want to deploy, and make those available so that you're doing the right thing. When you compile, when you complete a pull request and you merge it into your main branch, it just deploys appropriately. I love that.
That's cool.
Yeah, do the right thing, right? So, good things moving forward. There goes the saw next door. So, it's either that or the dentist is really upset.
Let's go with the saw.
It's a saw. It's a window. It's not a drill. Let's talk about C# 9 and some of the new features in C# 9. So I have demos for this. Oh, do I have demos? Let me make sure I'm in the right folder here. Let me reset the demos. There we go. And I will open. So I wrote a bunch of demos. For my Monday streams that I do, called C# with C# Fritz. It just kind of works having a name like that. You know what I'm saying? So let me open Visual Studio Code here, get this running, and I will share my Visual Studio Code screen. And we can talk about some of the cool features in VS Code. I'm going to dock that there.
The saw sounds mostly like an annoying mosquito. The kind that's right there when you're trying to fall asleep. I know exactly what kind you're talking about.
And trust me, if I was using my other microphone, it'd be a lot louder.
Then it's not a mosquito.
It's not. I'm going to share a different screen here. Give me 1 second so that I can switch over to VS Code. It is here. Yeah, there it is. It's over there. All right. So I have a series of demos that I've built here. Let me see. I want to go into that folder. Why is it? Yeah, we're good. We're good. So let me get ready to .NET Watch run, and let's talk through this. So the first demo that I want to talk about is about records. So, gosh, we've done classes and structs for years with C#, right? Structs, of course, value types. They get built and they live on the stack, right? That's where our memory manages those. And classes, those are reference objects and they go on the heap, right? And then we always have the garbage collector that does all of its things, cleaning this up. And structs are always a lot smaller, easier to manage, and there's so much ceremony that comes with classes, right? How many different ways have we learned to write properties in classes over the years? You know, it's like, and when we think about modern architecture as we build applications, right, we always end up with a class object that looks something like this, right? Some that we're gonna carry around, right? It's got first name, last name for a person, a toString that looks like their first name and last name put together, and we'll even have a constructor here. And I'm even going to cheat and use deconstruction with a value tuple there, so that we receive in the two properties, deconstruct it into the two properties there. That's kind of a cool little cheat there with a fat arrow notation to automatically, instead of doing, first name equals first, last name equals last. All right, that's a neat little way to cheat. But eventually, you end up with these things having lots and lots of properties, and you end up with tons of lines of code, and it's a pain in the neck to manage, right? And it's so much ceremony just to have a little class, what's going to end up as a POCO, right? A plain old class object or CLR object. What a pain. So what I like to do is, and what we can do now is we can define a record. Now, a record can have almost the same structure as a class, but you don't get to take advantage of all of the cool features that come along with it. I mean, right, the record does it overrides get hash code. It generates a cool toString method. But I can put properties in it just like I did before. And these ones I made read only. I can put constructors into it, and that's fine. That gets me started. But let me actually jump into the second demo that I have here. Records support inheritance, and we can define what we call positional records. And I'm going to stop showing my age with Freddie Mercury there, but I'm going to define a cool person record here. And let me do a right line on that. Can't. So I can define a record, which is a reference type, with one line of code here on line 88. First name, last name. It looks like a constructor, but I end up with properties that are named after each of the constructor arguments, and they're immutable. I still get a toString method that I still get I forgot to mention, you get an equality comparison that will do the value compare on the equality. So I can have two cool persons that are defined that have the same first name and last name, and it will show that they equal. But I get this toString method that outputs here that actually is pretty nice for working with a debugger. Let me let that run, and we'll see it in a second here. Come on. There it is. So I get the name of the type and the names of each of the properties with the values that are assigned to the properties. Gosh, Jimmy and Jessica, how many times have you been in the debugger and you're mousing over things and you have to drill in, and you just want a nice little display of what the object is you're debugging?
Yeah.
So, right, because we can override toString and we get a nice default toString there instead of just it saying cool person dot instance or whatever. I like that a lot better.
Definitely. That's actually useful.
Right? And even if I create another cool person, right? If I say var j equals new cool person, and I put the exact same values into it, right? It does that equality comparison and shows me that they're the same, even though they're technically not, right? They're equal, but they're not the same, right? True. They're equal. They have the same property set, but they're not they're not technically the same. They're not pointing to the same object in memory. So that's kind of cool that we have that. But we can also do inheritance. So you can see my next demo there. We can define another type. I'll call this one Rockstar, and I'll add a band name onto the end of it. And if I scroll over, you can see it inherits from cool person and passes on first name and last name. So I can show my age and say, well, here's Freddie Mercury, and save that, and you see that I'll end up with a cool person named Jeff Fritz. There he is. And a rock star named Freddie Mercury in Queen. Okay. But I've inherited. I can still cast Freddie back to a cool person, and it'll write out, I'll end up with cool person, but rockstar. It's still a rockstar. Even though I've cast it to a cool person, it still worked. It didn't give me null. It gave me the cool person, Freddie Mercury, and it's showing that it really has all of these features as a record. So I look at this as when I do payloads like view models that I want to pass back and forth from front end to my back end, and I don't have methods that are going with it. I want to have just a bundle of data that I'm shipping between systems. Records are going to give me data serialization. They're going to give me these very simple one-line instance definitions of what these things are without all that ceremony. Nice and easy to pass data back and forth using C#9. Now, right, C#9 comes with .NET 5, .NET 5 SDK. So you can't use it with the older versions of .NET. It doesn't work like that. How are we doing? Any questions? Anything we need to get in here? Regions, not even once.
Not okay, apparently.
At least once. There you go.
There you go. And actually, I did put there was a region in here, actually for for the demos, right? I can collapse that up. There's demo 2. So the third demo that I like to show when I talk about .NET 5, here, you go away too, is deconstruction and cloning. So when we make records immutable, this is really cool down here. So I defined a new cool person, Jeff Fritz, and because I use that positional definition, I can't change things inside of it. Those properties are read only. So, right, I can deconstruct the I'm jumping back and forth between demos. One second. Right, if I want to change that name, right, if I want to say that person's first name is actually Jimmy, I've already got an error coming back. Sorry, the first name is immutable. You can't change it unless you're in an initializer or if it has an init only accessor. We'll talk about that. That's a C#9 feature as well. So you can't change these things. You can decompose them, the record, down into different variables that you want to pass around. So I'm decomposing into first and last variables, and I can write them out here. And you'll see it's going to rebuild, and I'll end up with Jeff Fritz. And there he is. First, last, Jeff Fritz. The way to modify one of these immutable records, though, is to clone using the with syntax here. So let's not make it Scott. Let's make it Jimmy. So now I'm taking that person, letter P, and I'm going to clone it. Create a clone, but before you give it back to me, override the first name object and set it to this value. And there we go. There's Jimmy Fritz, and there's Jeff Fritz. Cool. So these are reference types that we can use. You had to take a call and you missed the start of record. Let me rewind. I've got a rewind button here. I do. I have a rewind button. I know it's here. Don't make me go find my there it is. Yeah. So we'll just rewind. Let me make sure I do this right. Right?
You have way too much fun with that.
When you get a Stream Deck, right, Jimmy? There's so many buttons to push.
I know.
I've actually noticed. I'm on Team Stream Deck now. I did a full day class with the Stream Deck.
Yeah.
And it was, yeah.
So easy.
I'm sold. Yeah.
Right?
Now I can't do it without one. Yeah. Microphone, camera, the cat. Show the cat.
I can't
oh,
do that
it's on the wrong.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. We will see the cat later.
It's so good, and just don't get too addicted and pick up an extra one.
We have 2. Yeah, but you're special.
I'm special. I want 4.
You're not a cool person yet.
Oh.
Look at the code. Okay, so I think we have a few comments and questions. You said that it give you a serialization. Is it automatic?
Yes. It does. Well, hang on. I'm sorry. Serializing to like JSON or CSV or some other format. It's not automatic, but it is serializable. It gives you the toString method automatically that you could probably pass around that toString object pretty easily. And you won't be able to rehydrate from it. That's not a bad idea. But you can definitely serialize it. It's not automatic. Is the width like a full lens or a copy constructor? It's like a copy constructor. It's a clone is what it's doing. So it's taking the original object, cloning it, and the width is doing the initialization, just like you would if you were doing a new object. So, good question there. Is that YCA Bello? Is that how you say that? So, if the entity is nested, can you create a clone where you replace a property of a child?
A lot of good questions.
Can you create a clone where you replace a property. I need to see a little bit of that. I don't know. That's a little bit deeper than I can think through with my right now on the fly in front of green screen here. Let me see if we can.
That's for the next stream.
Yeah, there you go. Give me a little bit of sample code that we can spin on that later. So that's records. Let's talk about init only, right? Have you seen the init only?
I have honestly worked very little with C#9.
Oh, this is so good. I like this one. So let me jump over here. So I have an object here that's a log entry, right? We've all seen entry things like this to log data, right? Severity, timestamp, description, and I've mocked one up here, and it's a struct here. Now I've done it again. Typically, we would have these defined with get sets, right? So that we can pass these around. It's a value type. It's going to be nice and small, and I've got a nice toString down there. I could have used a record for this, but I want to show the init capability here. So when you have it defined with get set, right, you can do a new log entry like this, and it just works, right? But it's get set. It's a public set on those properties, so anybody can change them at any time, right? After this has happened, right, manager or somebody can come through and say, well, no, the log severity, well, gosh, that's just information. It's not an error. That's just information. No, we don't want you to be able to change that, right? We want that to be private. Once it's been created, you can't change that. So, right, one way that we would do it is, well, get rid of these accessors, these set accessors to these properties. I'll leave description and timestamp should be just at the time it's created. Well, now I can't use that constructor syntax over there to set them, right? I can't initialize like that. Now I got to create a constructor, and I've got to allocate and make sure that I have input parameters for each of those. And gosh, we've never written classes where we need to change the input parameters to a constructor and having to create more properties, and you end up chasing each other. And well, did I remember to update the constructor use in every place throughout my application? Good thing I can do a refactor all, right, in ReSharper or in Visual Studio, and add methods, add parameters. This is where init only comes in. I still want this thing blocked. I don't want you to be able to change these. Init is a way for you to say that the set method, right? Come here, you. Init set. It's a way for you to say, come here, like that, right? That's the way I had it. There it is. Is a way for you to say, well, this property can be set either in a constructor or in an initializer, but nowhere else. After that, it's read-only. Once we pass on the object, there you can see, severity is still read-only at this point because the object's been defined. So you can still have constructors that access and use those. You can have the initializer so that it works great if you want to use that syntax as well, but make it read-only after the object has exited the constructor line. So that's pretty cool to be able to provide that level of checking and read-only checking capabilities in C#. There we go. The last feature that I want to show you, have you two done anything with top-level programs? Do you know what that is? Have you seen that? Do you know what these things are?
No.
Okay. Tell me if you've heard this before. I'm going to start a new application at the console. All right, great. Namespace, class, program, public static void main string arguments. Oh, dear Lord. All the ceremony to just get to, I want to run a demo. What a pain in the neck. Top level programs are life. Wait do you see this, right? I love this. So let's just comment everything out here. There it is. Comment the whole thing. And I'm going to jump over to a top-level program where really, for the purposes of learning, for the purposes of just writing a little bit of code that maybe interacts with a NuGet package, do something quickly and return a value from the command line, I can do something as simple as, and let's do this, system console write line. This is a top-level program. It's one file, it's one line, and there's a CS project file to go along with it, so it knows that this is .NET 5, but that's all it is. I love that, because now I don't need to get into all the ceremony of teaching somebody about object-oriented programs and classes and inheritance and all those things, and what's a record. Now I got to teach them what that is, or structs. But you don't need to figure out where the program entry point is. I can just write one line, done. So think about it. We can reach into NuGet packages for things like CSV parsing and, hey, point to a file on disk, parse it and show me how many records are in it, or go find, the average of whatever content is in there and write it out. We can do this, and we can teach much easier because we don't have all the ceremony of building classes hanging over us. You can put using statements in here, of course, right? So let's bring those in. And you can reference and you can work with the arguments, right? If there are arguments inside your application that you want to be able to pass in, you can still reference the args objects so you can interact with that there. Save. These are the arguments passed in. Well, let's actually pass in some arguments, right? So if I say hello and world, it'll run, and I believe that's the syntax to pass in those. These are the arguments passed in, hello and world. So, right, I'm running at the command line using .NET, but if you actually compile this and deliver just my sample application.exe, I could run sample console exe hello world, and it would return those. But I'm interacting with it all at the command line with one line of code. And I'll reach back into demo 3 and I'll let that run, and you'll see that it does all the things appropriately for the application. What do we got? We got a question here from Frau Young.
Yeah.
If you return an int, will it automatically figure that out?
Let's find out.
Let's try it, right?
Awesome.
Return, give me a number. Thank you. Because if it doesn't work, I know why. Exited with error code 666. There you go, right? So you can return your error.
Does not sound good.
Right? Any non-zero exit code is an error code, right? So return with whatever error code, and if I change that to 0, right, it should come back and say, right, exited properly? Exited? Yeah, just exited. So, sure. Right? Return the appropriate integer, and it'll take care of it and handle that as an error code, even though you haven't declared a method. That's so cool, right? And I'm thinking about all the places that we used to build little sample applications that would go and just exercise a little piece of code inside of VB6 application, so that it's doing the thing.
You're showing your age again.
I know. I'm sorry. So we're getting there, right? This is certainly a lot easier to use. There's other samples that are out there that you can check out around things with pattern matching that have been enhanced in the new version of C# 9. And there's also the ability to do automatic new typing here. If you're going to declare the type of whatever variable you want to instantiate to the left of the variable name, well, we've already got the ability to do var, and you've declared the type on the right side. Well, let's do it the other way. If you've declared the type over here, you can say new and instantiate it automatically. Similarly, here's an array. Well, I know I'm declaring points in the array, so I can say new and get the same constructor signature going across that way. That makes it a lot easier than having to go through all the ceremony of new point. Put it in the right place, Jeff. Over here, new point. Do it again, right? New point. What a pain in the neck.
That syntax actually makes more sense than the var syntax, at least for me.
For you? Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it's a question of where do you want to declare the type. Now you can declare it where it makes you happy. Fine. You want to declare it on the left? Declare it on the left. Want to put it on the right? Put it on the right. It's up to you. Both work. So I like that. There's a couple places where I think that makes a lot of sense. Right. Count elements in list, a list of type, right? My list. And it's passing that in. It knows it's being passed into here, so it's casting it appropriately when it's being passed in there. So it does. Hey, Stacy Cash, good to see you. You love how clean it makes the array. It does make it nice. It does. You're not wrong. So, I like it. So C#9, lots of great improvements there that make it easier for folks to use stuff, use code and interact with and write things faster. But you need to be .NET 5. It's not going to work with .NET 3.1. So, and it doesn't work with .NET Framework either. So I could go over to the slides and we could talk about some of the cool features in Blazor, or I could just show you. Should we just go into Blazor?
Yeah.
You're here
I
because
think we
Stacy-
should.
You're here because Stacy shared it on LinkedIn. LinkedIn?
Thank you, Stacy.
Can I ask a question? Chat room, can you help us out? When you're on Twitter, it's a tweet. When you're on Facebook, it's a post. What is it on LinkedIn? Is it a link? Is it a link in? Is it an in link? Stuff.
I don't know.
I
I'm never there. So anyone in the chat
Can we
room,
link it
please.
in? I don't know. It's preachy. That's
Yeah,
what
we
it
have
is.
linked.
Linked?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. It's not lumped.
Oh, we have another vote for stuff.
Okay.
And of
Okay.
course, preachy.
Preachy.
So nobody knows.
Preachy is what happens over on Parler. No. No.
Mm-hmm. So a link in a link is a recursive link.
Okay. Got it. All right. I'm there with you. You vote for link. Okay. So does that mean that they all need the little green hat and the master sword and they're fighting? Okay. Video game reference.
Oh,
Should we talk about Blazor? Cool stuff with
yes,
Blazor?
please.
Should I could show Clip Talk.
Stuff.
Do we want to show Clip Talk? Is that okay? Can I show Clip Talk?
Sure.
Yeah,
gonna
go
have to
for
go back
it.
I'm gonna have to go back to the main branch because if you saw earlier, I broke the branch that I'm currently working on. That's not broken.
Yeah,
Broken's a
it's
strong
just not finished yet.
right. It's not
Let's go with
done.
that.
Okay, we'll go with that. So I'm going
Let
to
me-
change branches to my main branch, and I will share. I need a Visual Studio.
While
Can
you're
somebody give-
sharing.
Not yet. We're getting there. What do we got?
I used .NET 5 with great success of Advent of Code 2020. Love how you can write compact code that gets things done. Love getting things done.
So the big thing that I hear from folks is, gosh, I can do so much with Blazor so fast and reuse code quickly. So let's take a look at some Blazor code. Yeah, but it's broken right now because I'm not actually, yeah, this one. I'll do this.
So how many in the chat room use Blazor today?
Good question.
Mm-hmm.
I know I do.
You're writing a book about it. I hope you are. You better be.
Does the book have a raccoon on the cover?
It does.
It actually does.
All right. Now they're paying attention.
We have a couple of them. Yeah. Stacy's starting soon. We have Free Young. I think Ulrika says she wants to.
Don't do .NET 5
Andreas
yet?
says yes.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get you there. We'll get you
Oh,
there.
look at that. So the ones that are not doing Blazor wants to do Blazor, it seems.
They heard no JavaScript.
That's
Join
locally you.
us. That's right. No JavaScript. So
Look at that. A lot of Blazor.
good. So join the dark side.
Use your JavaScript anger. Take your weapon.
Oh, here we have a consideration for
Fable.
a
All right.
pet project. Yeah, considering
Okay.
Fable.
That's cool too. Nothing wrong with Fable.
And here we have another Jimmy. Anything I can do to not use JavaScript.
I'm starting
not for everyone.
I'm starting it for my pet project. So that would be the pet project that Jeff is going to do for Jasper, right?
Yes.
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 No.
No? We should do that monthly. Build something for Jasper with Jeff coming on the stream. Yeah, this is happening. We need to talk afterwards. The cat needs the Insta. Okay, on to Blazor.
I still have that bag of treats from Stockholm last year. The kids have gone through some of that. All right, so I'm a huge fan of Blazor. In fact, so our friend Fierce Kittens, she came to me one day. Gosh, it was about a year ago, and said, I need to rewrite my GIF bot, the bot that we have here on Twitch that does all the animations and things, and I can do it with Windows Forms in .NET Core 3. And she was actually there, but she's like, this is getting very hard to manage. I'm ready to rewrite it, and I need to take advantage of some of the web APIs to interact with and authenticate with Twitch so I can make it just a concise experience. So I started showing her Blazor, and she's like, no, I don't want to have to write any JavaScript. I hate JavaScript. Hate it with a passion. And
We have more.
All right, now we're talking, and that's okay. Look, some people really like JavaScript, some folks do not, and
Yeah.
both are okay.
And that's okay.
If you ever get over onto Fierce Kitten's channel, cheer 300 bits. Baby Yoda comes on screen and shows you a little bit. I'm not going to give it away. Make sure you go over cheer 300 bits on Fierce Kitten's channel when she's live, and yeah, you'll see. Anyways, where was I? So Blazor lets you build without JavaScript, and I've got stuff here that looks like, right? You see all these tags that are in turquoise here. They look like they're going to do something. They're more than just the HTML. Light blue that we have for the I tag there, the div tag. These are Blazor tags. These are things that are going to be executed as C# code. You see, I have a Telerik tab strip component wrapping what's going on here. I've defined a tab, and here's the tab that goes on here, and I have some content that's appearing inside the tab. I have a spinner that's going to appear while it's loading content, and then I'm going to virtualize. This is a new feature in Blazor. So I brought up those social media websites like Twitter and Facebook and link all the things in, and right, you want to be able to scroll down and just keep scrolling, and there's more content, right? And you want to be able to doom scroll. Hey, what else is going bad that I want to be able to see? Nothing bad on ClipTalk. Everything's fantastic over there. So virtualize is a way for you to take a collection of objects, and I've got them bound here in the items collection, discoverable clips, and do a for loop across that. And clip is my context, is that item that I would have received on each cycle through the for loop, right? The counter variable, the for each variable that I'm getting. And I'm going to generate inside of it this item content. So I have a cascading value. This is some information I'm going to pass down into all the components underneath of it. And I have a clip component so that on the front page of ClipTalk, I can show Twitch clips that folks are interested in seeing. So that's all this does, is it does this virtual for loop around it. So it only has about 10 to 15 clips that are in your browser at a time, and it will destroy ones that you've scrolled significantly past, and it will only create the ones it needs as they're coming onto the screen. So
we have a question about virtualize. Is that a part of Blazor, or can you create the same kind of components?
it is part of Blazor in .NET 5. So this is in the box. You don't have to buy it. It's not a Telerik thing. The component vendors do have virtualization for some of their components, but this feature, this virtualize tag you see here on line 12, that comes with Blazor in .NET 5. It's not in the 3.2 version, but it works great both on Blazor server-side and Blazor WebAssembly. So
the grid that I built, Blossom, you can find it at blossom.net, actually uses the virtualized component as well.
awesome. There you go.
We need to bring in this one as well. So if a JavaScript developer join us, might yell, "What is this?" But honestly, JavaScript developers are always asking, "What is this?"
You're going to
JavaScript skill.
Come on now.
There you go. There you go.
You're right. So what's interesting is I've had some JavaScript folks visit my stream when I'm working on Blazor, and they're genuinely impressed with how productive it is. Granted, with the live refresh you get when you're working with things like Gatsby and React is amazing. Like, you're not even done releasing the enter button and it's already updated in the browser. Like, right? Control S and I'm releasing the S and it's already updated in the browser. I'm like, how did I do that?
Yeah, we need that too.
good.
Yeah.
So it's coming. There's part of that development experience, and hot reload is coming as part of .NET 6. But we're getting there. So this application, when built, I'm actually just going to share a browser here. I'll point it to the production instance, and I'll log out. Come on, log out. Do the thing. Refresh.
So the question was more on the line of, can you create something like virtualize?
Sure, absolutely you can. And the virtualize feature is going to give you a lot of things out of the box, but there's definitely some places where it makes sense to do a little bit more on your own. Like, you can wire up the virtualize component there so that it will load it loads new content from a provider as that content comes on screen. But if the content takes a little bit of time to load as it's being scrolled on screen, you end up in a chase scenario that feels kind of wonky. It feels kind of dirty. So
It goes from wonky to dirty.
Yeah, it's not right. It ends up jumping. We had this problem when we tried to work through it on stream. I was like, what I'd really like to do is I'd like to improve virtualize. I'd like to grab the source code for it, because this is all open source, this framework. I'd like to grab it. And there's a feature inside virtualize called I believe it's called is it the scan count? The overscan? Where is it? Right? Why am I not finding it? So that you can, not color, faulted content template. No, there's my Angular templates. No. Where is it? It's size.
You're in the wrong.
I'm on the spinner. That's why.
Yeah.
Look at that. See, this is why you bring your friends. There it is. Overscan. Right. So this is, how many more objects do you want to bring in? Right. So that you have a bigger page of data. So, right. So if I mouse over this, there you go. Gets or sets a value. It's not showing you that. Gets or sets a value that determines how many additional items will be rendered before and after the visible region. So I can say, you know what, give me 5 extra items before the visible region and 5 after. So you end up with a nice big page. But when you get down and you start scrolling into those last 5, that's when I want it to load the next page of data. It's okay with me if you go get the next page of data while you're in those last 5, right? It's like here in America, we have baseball, and right by the warning track is what we call it, and in the outfield, right by the outside wall, because we want the guys that are playing playing baseball out there that are running to go catch a ball. They want to know before they hit the wall because they're looking up at the sky to try and catch a ball hit out there. And they change the surface. They change it from grass to dirt so they can feel that, ooh, I'm stepping in dirt now. There's a wall 5 feet in front of me. 5 feet, listen to me. There's a wall 1.5 meters in front of me. You're going to hit that, right? You look, buddy. And there's some folks that have really gotten messed up because they stepped into the dirt because they're chasing a fly ball and they get hit. Same thing here. When you get into that warning track, ooh, there's only 5 more items that I'm going to present. Go get my next block of data, right? You're in the warning track. We're running out of data. Go get the next block. And it doesn't do that yet. So there's something I would love to see enhanced and right, you can build your own virtualized component that does that if you wanted to. You could build Jimmy's table component that does this and add that feature into it. When I'm loading things like here where I'm loading Twitch clips, it's expensive for me to paint clip images on screen. So when I get down into those last couple, go get the data and start painting it for me, because you're going to start scrolling up and I want the data to be there. I want that experience of it's already here for you. It's a seamless loading experience. So I actually load up a bunch of data and stick it in memory real quick. I load up 100 I load up 100 records and just stick it in memory, and this will automatically page those appropriately. So if you try to do the same in React, you'd have to pass the child component as a property instead of as a child. Okay. So we have it. It's just nested. And that kind of, I don't know. Jimmy, this feels right to me when, as a developer, building something and saying, yeah, put this inside the list.
Yeah.
So
I think so.
Do you mind if I show what the website looks like? So you can see that. So I have, where is it? Share screen. Different screen. Share the other screen. Not that one. Is it this one or is it that one? I have too many windows open with the same name. Right? It's like, nope, that's not it. This one? Sure. That looks right. Hey, there it is. So this is Clip Talk. This is a website I've been working on for now about 3 months that shows cool clips from various folks on Twitch. So you can see down the side, here's a list of folks that I follow, and there's a list of cool clips from folks that have a lot of views here. And I can even look into the channels that I follow, and it'll show me here's some of the newest clips from those folks, and I can scroll through and see them. But you see there's a little bit of purple that pops up. See it down there just below, right? It's about to paint the next image. I have lazy loading turned on, but there, see it just popped in. So that it only loads that image. I have a stub image that's only like 3K, nice and small, that I have there. So if you scroll really fast, you get the stub image until they load in. And there's our friends Code It Live, who run the Telerik channel. Do I have your channel in here? Do we have Coding After Work in here? So I can search. I
don't think we have any clips though.
So we have to start making clips.
We do have clips. Look at that. So, right, there's some stuff from .NET Front End Day.
Hey, that's Fierce Kitten.
Yeah.
We're talking about her.
So, this is sorted by latest. There's David Ort now, right? So folks can come through and they can find the content, they can like it, comment on it, and this is all Blazor, right? And it's the same virtualized component here. There's only 3 or 4 clips here, 4 clips total, but we can go out and we can like them, and you can. I have date sort on here, date search on here, and easy to interact and build interactions around these. It's where we're getting to. So all Blazor, virtualization is the big thing that we've done here. There's the ability to hook up .NET Watch. When you do .NET Watch, it automatically recompiles your Blazor application and refreshes your browser. So to me, that's like a killer experience for somebody who's on Linux or Mac and doesn't have Visual Studio with things like Browser Sync sitting there. Browser Sync. I get them confused now. And automatically refreshing the browser for us as we write code. So I've been having such a blast writing this and finding all the edges around Blazor interacting with Azure. Because the other thing we released is also Blazor Static Web Apps for Azure. That's, what do you mean it's static, right? So if you think about single page applications, right? Folks that are building JavaScript applications, whether it's Angular, Vue, React, Knockout, Upshot, that was a thing, wasn't it? Ember. Is Ember still a thing? I think Ember is a thing, right? But you'd build all of that stuff, and all that you really wanted to pass back and forth was data. Well, what if we could give you an application that doesn't have a server-side component when it serves the web page content like this, but it does have APIs that run as Azure functions behind the scenes that you can connect into, and still, when you need data, you need to interact with a data source, you need to interact with an API that's behind a firewall, you can do it through that Azure function. And that's what Blazor Static Web Apps are, and that's what ClipTalk is also. So take your Blazor application, run it on top of just an index HTML. You don't need ASP.NET Core to run this, and deliver that to the browser, cache it aggressively, and just reach back to the server when you need data, when you need those interactions. So let me take you behind the scenes here on how this works. If we look
bring in a question while you do that. Okay. Hello, great stream. A fellow web dev here.
Terrific.
Regards from DR.
Dominican Republic? Fantastic.
Ah, I see. Is there any way to make the first load for Blazor WebAssembly faster?
You've had the experience. It takes a while. So what you can do, if you host your Blazor WebAssembly app inside of a ASP.NET Core app, even though it's not completely static, you can configure ASP.NET Core to pre-render the first request of your Blazor WebAssembly. So, right, and this comes back to .NET 5 has unified all of the .NET frameworks. Instead of WebAssembly running on top of Mono, it now runs on top of .NET 5. So you have .NET 5 in the browser. You have .NET 5 on the server. You can compile and get the same thing, whether it's in the browser or it's on the server. So for that first request, let's aggressively cache that. So we'll pre-render it, cache it, and deliver that first request, just like we saw folks doing with Angular, where we'll run Node on the back end, generate all the HTML from the JavaScript for that first request, deliver it, and wire back up all the events to the HTML in the browser. Now we're talking. So you can do that, but that's not a static web app. Static web app, you're going to be waiting for the DLL to download. But once it's done downloading, it doesn't have to download again, right? It does that hash check and doesn't go back and go and get it, right? Like if I do a hard refresh here, we're going to see the little thing pop up while it's checking, and boom, I'm in. I've shown this to non-technical folks. I like to call them muggles. I know it's a Harry Potter thing, but I mean, they're non-technical, right? They're muggles, and that's okay, right? We're not being insulting. Non-technical folk. They don't know this is Blazor. They don't know this is, not JavaScript. They look at this and say, oh, that's pretty cool. That's a great application, right? I can go click through it, and there's our friend Mish Manners, right? There's the Microsoft Developer Channel, right? This is loading data off and rendering it from Twitch, and we see some cool stuff load up, and it loads up quickly, and they're not saying, oh gosh, it's so slow. It's pretty cool. Oh, can we go to that last question in chat?
Yeah, here's the follow-up.
Can't you serve a
Can't you
placeholder?
serve a placeholder HTML that looks like your site without loaded content?
That's what I'm doing, actually, when this page shows up. That little thing with the logo and the little timer going on there, that's placeholder HTML. It's just sitting there, that and filling in the time while it's just making sure things load properly. So if I go back over, let me set up Visual Studio here. I can show you exactly where that lives, because it's so easy to do. And when you see it, you're gonna be like, gosh, Fritz, why am I doing that already? It is back into Visual Studio. Yep. Ta-da. Right here. So inside of Blazor, we use an app tag as a directive to say, hey, stick the Blazor content between the app tag. But you can put whatever content you want inside of here, and it'll paint that on the screen first before the Blazor app renders. So I've created something here. It's a div class modal overlay that's centered appropriately in the screen and puts up the little subtitle, my PNG there. And I have some alt text and a title if for some reason it can't load the image, and I have a little wave image that appears underneath of it. Easy. That's it.
Nice.
When you see, oh yeah, of course, you just put it right there and it's going to replace it when it loads. So spot on. So I'm really excited about Blazor. I love what this brings. Oh, I wanted to finish talking about static web apps. Can I finish talking about static web apps? Can I make that a thing?
Please do.
Okay.
Can we make it a thing?
Let's
We're making it a thing.
Yes. It is, which Firefox is it? This one. I think it's that one. Is it this one over here? I think that's the one. It's not showing my mouse. That's okay. So when you deploy an Blazor Static Web App, it generates the GitHub action for you. I mentioned Visual Studio does this, but Azure does this when you hook this up. When you set up the Azure application and you wire it up to the Static Web App, it generates the GitHub action so that when you push into the main branch, it does the checkout, it builds and deploys and pushes it into that location, into your Azure application. And I can take a look. Yeah, it didn't build properly. I know why it didn't build properly, because I'm not done yet. So I take a look over here. There we go. Here's my actions. And you can see where it deploys, and I can reach down into this one. I have 2 functions it deploys now. And you can see the entire thing where it checks out, it build and deploy. This one over here. There we go. Look at, how's that for a Docker run statement? It uses this thing Oryx to go and build both the API and the Blazor app. So detected both Node.js and .NET, and it's going to go and build appropriately. So it downloads and installs Node, downloads, installs .NET, and down here, npm run sass, compile my sass style sheet. So I end up with a app CSS, run .NET publish. So here's .NET 5, and it will go through and build. There's some of my shared DLLs. Come on. Showing all these warnings. It's like looking at an unmade bed in my bedroom here. Right. So there I get my client. There's my Blazor application. And if I keep scrolling down here, it builds the functions. There we go. Version 3.1.10 of .NET, because it's building Azure functions. So it goes and gets the 3.1 SDK and it builds right here my repository objects to go work, and function data. There's my clip functions, all to interact and present that data. And then here it goes and deploys. So all in one action here, but would be really cool would be if there was some way for me to test before it deployed, right? Oh, I love this part. So I have a couple pull requests sitting here. Check this out. So here we're doing a refactoring here. Not only does it build, but it deploys to a staging slot. So I can go through to the staging slot and I can see exactly how it works. Because when you build with Azure and you want to use staging slots, it's a pain in the neck to go and reconfigure all the things so that it goes to this staging slot, goes to stage 1 slot, and we can make sure everything's configured properly and all that. It does it all for us. It allocates a domain name. Look at this, right? It's the same base of the goofy, simple name that they give you by default, and it puts the pull request number 161 right next to it as part of the domain
to remember.
name. Exactly. So I can go there, I can test out the site, I can see exactly how it's working, and by all of its builds, it looks like it's running properly. But I can click through now, go to that page, and I can see, is it running? Is it doing all the things that I need it to? Well, I can tell right away it's broken because it's in light mode.
That's how you know.
And see, it's actually not loading content properly. So I need to go back and check. Why isn't it loading content properly before I merge this in and deploy it? But I've taken advantage of staging slots without having to write additional code. It comes with the configuration in the GitHub Actions. So I'm really happy about that because I've caught a couple of issues by being able to send folks, hey, go check out this website. Let me know if that looks right to you before I go and merge and run into an issue. So really cool to see that that's part of the mix here in the new version of Blazor. We've been going for a while here. How we doing? How we doing on time? What do you think?
I think we have like 16, 18 minutes or so.
All right.
Still have time for some fun.
Time for some more fun. Let me see. What can we talk about? What can we say going forward here? Where else? Let me look at my slides and see. I don't want to talk about
Pull up
that.
a question in the meanwhile.
Yeah.
When you merge and deploy, how long does the production site become inaccessible or down? Also, does the GitHub action work to deploy Amazon as well?
So the GitHub action isn't configured to deploy to AWS. This is strictly a template that works with Azure Static Web Apps. The folks at AWS, they're part of the .NET Foundation. I would encourage them to set up a similar deployment with S3 and Lambda services. Make that template available so that folks can do something similar. These really all do the same thing. So I would expect them to build and make a template available as well if there's folks that want it on their platform. But this is strictly an Azure thing for right now. But how long does the production site become unavailable? Let me open up that. So what I can show you, let me see here. So one of these deployments, this one right here, it took 5 minutes in the run duration, right? We can open that up. We can take a look here. Oh, it also cleans up the staging sites when it's done. So this builds and deploys. Come on, scroll down to the bottom there. I haven't seen it become unavailable at all. It's not clear exactly what it's doing here. It zips up the artifacts, it uploads them, and it starts polling to see, is it live? And 30 seconds, it sees that it's live. I'm not sure if it's deploying it to a staging slot and swapping, but I haven't seen downtime when that happens. I haven't been able to hit it at just the right time where, oops, sorry, there's nothing there. I have been able to hit it where the function needs time to warm up. That I believe and is something that you're not going to be able to get too far away from, right? It's just going to take time for functions to warm up, and based on how they're deployed and managed, fine. But I think downtime is not, like I said, isn't something I've experienced. This is really fun. Thanks for a great evening. Oh, you're welcome.
We run Blazor server at work, and we deploy using DevOps, and we have a downtime of about 5 seconds. So it's very obvious because the SignalR connection is pulled down.
Oh my
so
gosh,
it's very obvious the time it takes. So about 5 or 6 seconds.
Yeah. So I've been very happy with this. I've actually deployed 2 websites. The other website that I have out here is it's hats.csharpfritz.com. I need to open a haberdashery. So I've got a few hats. A few. I'm still going. I'm not at the point where I
bet that he has more hats than I have domains.
No, I'm not sure. No, see? There's an end to this list.
Well, I don't have all the pictures loaded up. So so I do a thing on Custom Vision AI.
I love Custom Vision.
Oh, this is such a cool website.
We made a superhero identifiers to see if it's Marvel or DC when you hold up a picture or send in a picture or a live video.
Idea. Oh my gosh, what a great idea. This identifies my hats.
Mm-hmm.
I have 89 different hats loaded.
Sounds about how many domains you have.
And the new collection that I've started is the towns of the slasher movies. So Haddonfield, Illinois for Halloween. Camp Crystal Lake, of course, Friday the 13th.
Of course.
The Overlook Hotel from The Shining.
Whew.
There's and of course that horror movie Twitch. NASA. I've got a security. Yes, Ineta. We all remember Ineta. So there's some really rare ones in here too that I'm kind of happy about. The Mandalorian as a hat. So anyway,
nice.
But I have that website over here. This is Blazor Static website also. So, and it does a search. So that's been some fun to
I have another one for Team Jimmy. Every time you have a new idea, you buy the damn domain and then you don't use it. Well, that's where we stop. Here we go. Were you 3Ding it?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, why not?
When ClipTalk was one of the first domains that I bought and literally had it deployed into production and a website running and serving it same day. Boom. Ooh.
How do you get the subdomain in a static web app?
So you're right. You always have to have www. So here's what I did. I cheated. I stood up.
We just want to know how you cheated.
I stood up Azure Front Door. And here's where I kind of I pull a whammy on Azure Static websites. Not only do I have the domain name wired up to Azure Front Door here, there it is, but I also have the Apex domain, cliptalk.com, wired up, and I have it route to not just the static site, but also to a static collection of HTML. So if I go back over to cliptalk.com and we grab, let me go back to Coding After Work. And I scroll down here and let's go find that clip with our friend Fierce Kittens. If I go to share this out to one of those services, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, they want to generate that card, right? That has a picture of here's what it is you're clicking through to, the title, these things. So if I click through to that, oh, come on, you're not going to show me the card. You make me sad. I want the Twitter card validator. Show me what that card looks like. It should have shown it right there in the page, but I'll make it appear right here. It looks like that when we put it on Twitter. How do you do that? I mean, that's a Blazor generated page over here when we click into this, right? And we see the clip playing and all the stuff going on there, right? That's This is all generated by Blazor. So how's it being put over there? I generate the HTML behind the scenes and stash it into Azure Blob Storage. Azure Front Door, when it sees the request come in from a bot, has a rule that says, oh, I'm going to send it to the crawler website, to where all the static HTML is living out there. So I'm cheating. I've actually built the sites, those pages. They don't change, but it's just sitting there on disk with pointers out to all the various images and things. Easy. And each one of those takes up like a K. So I don't care. It takes up a ton of space. It doesn't. I've got 65,000 clips indexed, and it takes up. It's not even taking up a meg yet. Fine. I don't care. So keep loading those things up. So to finish Stacy's question, if you wanted to put a domain, subdomain on there, you can add another front end here, another top level host name, and have it route to some other application if you'd like, by adding another back-end pool here in the middle. So now you've got the ability to kind of push those around. You can set up routing rules. When should I go to this? When should I go to that? And really, for some of these, it's going to be, well, if you're going to whatever, c#fritz.cliptalk.com, we'll route it to this back-end app appropriately. So really cool stuff. Front Door is a little expensive when you look at how many routes you get by default, how many rules you get in the mix there. But I like it. I really like it, and it's enabled this type of interaction, which people look at and are like, how's that Blazor? How are you doing that? Blazor doesn't get interpreted by Twitter. That's right, it doesn't. So, and I've also validated with the Facebook validator, right? Facebook validator, and it'll give me the Facebook, sharing valid debugger, they call it. So if I post that same URL in, debug, and I know it hasn't been shared on Facebook before. Thanks so much.
How is that a problem?
I know. I'm telling you what it is. So there it is. That's how it'll look on Facebook. So not bad, right? These are things that we know how to do. We can generate those open graph data points and load in the image, the description, all that stuff.
That's really nice.
Yeah. Right? And think about, we can also set up with search engine content in those pages also, right? Maybe at some point we let the let cognitive services crawl it and listen to what's being discussed and actually put the transcript into the search engine page, the page that this thing crawled. And now the Google bot, the Bing bot, the whatever bot, the DuckDuckGo bot finds it and indexes and knows what's being discussed in the clip. Now it becomes even more search indexable and friendly for things. We'll get there soon. We'll get there. So I'm having such a blast building with the Blazor Static Web Apps. It is so much fun. And functions, I'm being charged per execution, and it's like 8 millionths of a cent per execution. Okay.
Oddly specific.
Right? It's like, fine. Go ahead. Let me hit this a couple million times, and here's 10 cents American. Enjoy. So, lot of fun. What else do we want to talk about? Yes, a few of them are free. Oh yeah, absolutely. So, there we go. Right, we can bring up the pricing thing. Right, is it Azure Functions pricing? Right. So even with the static website, you got to pay for your functions. There you go. This is in US dollars. So tenths of a cent, hundredths of a cent, thousandths of a cent, 10,000, 16 10,000ths of a cent per gigabyte second, 20 cents per million executions. Right? Come on. Sure. I can run 100 million times and pay $2 American. $20 American, I'm sorry. Get the number right. So it might as well be free up to that million executions at 20 cents. Like, go. The first million are free. But
The first million are free.
Right? Like, there's a scale there where it's like, okay, sure.
What number should we start with?
1 million.
I have him. He's floating around here on my Stream Deck somewhere. I'm gonna find it. Oh no, it was right there, wasn't it? No, that's not him. He's over here. No, it's not him. It's Austin. It's not Dr. Evil. Oh gosh. I have Auric Goldfinger.
So close.
Yeah. Oh well. Anyways, where else? What else do we want to talk about? Do we want to talk about when the next .NET is shipping? That's an important thing to talk about.
Yeah, sure.
So I know we're right about at time too, aren't we? All this fun.
Yeah, we are.
All this fun.
Time flies when we have fun.
You are.
We just started to talk about .NET 5, and now we're going to go, when is .NET 6?
Yeah.
Gosh.
We want more.
So .NET 5, fastest web services that are out there. But you're going to see new versions. Again, you're going to see new versions of .NET every November, coinciding with a .NET Conf. That's going to become our launch event. But November 2021, you're going to see .NET 6, and that's going to be our long-term servicing release. So you're going to get 3 years of support out of that. Support for .NET 5 will end 3 months after .NET 6 is released. That's free support. You can still get paid support, but we want to move you over to .NET 6, okay? And if we've done our job right, you should be able to migrate by just changing that target framework moniker in your projects. Literally go into your projects, change a line of code, and it should just run with .NET 6. Major releases, like I said, every November. Yeah. I don't know about you, but when I updated my .NET Core 3.1 apps to .NET 5, it was just changing the target framework. I changed it one line in the code, and it just worked. So I was really happy with that. Long-term servicing on even-numbered releases, which happen to be on the odd-numbered years.
Because why not?
Yeah.
There's something about Microsoft and numbering.
Right. But the big thing is that fourth bullet there, a predictable schedule. We want to make sure that folks can rely on long-term servicing releases every 2 years so that you have a consistent, plannable release schedule for .NET. You know through 2024, you know for the next 4 years when .NET is coming out, what versions of .NET are coming out, when support starts, when it ends. This is great for folks that are in enterprises and need to be able to plan the life cycle of their applications.
Yeah.
And those folks who say, well, gosh, I still have an application that I wrote in web forms back in 2003 that I don't want to have to update. But you replaced your car once or twice between then and now. Right? I mean, it's been 18 years. You've changed the oil, right?
Hopefully.
Right? Changed the tires. You need to maintain your applications. So you get the security patches. So you get the fixes. And same goes for .NET. You need to maintain it. Our friends in the Java environment, they know in the JavaScript environments, they know they need to maintain it because, let's face it, that framework that they built with is not only no longer supported, it's no longer in vogue, and you can't hire anybody to work on it anymore, right? Is anybody working on Knockout.js anymore? Didn't think so. So you need to maintain and move to the next thing. You need to upgrade, and if we can make that on-ramp as easy as possible, you're going to be able to get to these new versions, get great new features, great new performance, and be able to find talent that wants to work with your projects. Have Jimmy, Jessica, have you been asked to work on a .NET 2 and or an ASP.NET Web Forms project recently?
Nope.
And if somebody
No.
did say, you know what, I want to hire you for 6 months to come and work on this ASP.NET Web Forms project. I'm going to pay $500,000 for the year to work on the Web Forms project for the next 6 months. Would you do it? Would you go work on it? Exactly. Exactly. That's the face right there. Chat room, you saw it. You want to be on recorded. You want to be on
recorded.
There's nothing wrong with older frameworks. There isn't. But when you're looking for talent, if you're looking for folks to bring in to work on a project, they want to work on the new cool things that are available. That's just the way it is. That's the way developers are. That we want to work on some of the cool new things. If the project was, hey, we're going to pay $500,000 for the next 6 months to come in and migrate from web forms to Blazor, now we're talking. Okay. All right, I can sink my teeth into that. Let's talk turkey. Let's get down to brass tacks. Insert metaphor here. There's something to be said about being on the latest and greatest. You're going to get the security patches. You're going to get the insight from developers. You're going to be able to reach out to folks and help steer the framework because it's all open source. You're going to be able to help steer it in a direction that gives you functionality that's easier, better, faster for you to work with when it comes out in November of 2022 and you want that .NET 7 release. Can I go on record here? Can we get ready to clip this, chat room, okay? November 2022, I would love for us to nickname that version .NET 7 Lucky 7. I'd love to see that, and don't tell me about .NET 8, the crazy 8s after that. I don't know. But .NET Lucky number 7, I think that could be a thing here. Do something with a logo and a lucky number 7. I think that could be a thing. I see a couple questions.
Let's
Can we go
pull
to some
them
questions?
in. Yeah. What do we have?
NPM is to .NET dependency hell what Ebola is to... Wow.
There you go.
Yeah. NPM is a thing. Nothing wrll with older projects.
It's a thing.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of taking old projects, breathing new life into them, getting them into modern frameworks. That's why I built with the Blazor Web Forms components. I think there's really something there with those components that give you the same markup, give you the same API, deliver the same markup that in Blazor that you had in Web Forms. Now we're talking. Now I can reuse my markup if I move all my business logic into class libraries. I can make them .NET Standard. Boom goes the dynamite. I've got .NET Standard, works everywhere. I can migrate that forward to Blazor, and now my markup will work in Blazor also. Yes! That's a beautiful thing. Been trying to convert web forms to Blazor, but running into small stuff here and there needs to become more... Okay. Definitely. There's definitely something to be said about ensuring that you have your Blazor chops behind you, your Blazor skills, so that you can take some of those web form things. I encourage folks, make your web forms user interfaces as dumb as possible. All they know how to do is paint the user interface. Take the web form, make the web form the view in your MVC application, right? All the controller stuff that's happening behind the scenes, hand that off as much as possible to a class.
There we go.
The problem with migrating web forms to Blazor is that you first have to convert web forms to proper web forms. Well, yeah, there's web forms, and then there's better web forms. And then there's web forms with no view state and model binding. That's where you're in the butter zone, and you're going to be able to migrate to Blazor real quick. So, yeah. Current job is actually that, not web forms, classic MVC net 4.6 with a lot of WFC. Ooh, around to .NET 5. Okay. A lot of screen testing.
There we go.
Scream testing. Oh my goodness.
Scream testing. Yep. There you go.
Hang on. Let me make sure Let me make sure, one second, make sure I got this right. Do this, and oh, it won't let me change. See, because I wanted to go like this.
You can do it!
You get there. Web forms in VB, not C#. There are tools on the web that you can use to port from Visual Basic to C#. Our friends at Telerik actually have one that you can upload your Visual Basic code and it will rewrite it as C# for you. So that's available for you to work with. So very cool stuff. How are we doing? Pretty good? We feeling good? You've been standing there the whole
this
time.
was fun. This was fun.
Yeah, there's
any last questions for Jeff before we wrap up? Did you have fun?
Did I have fun? Of course. I love showing off Clip Talk. It's been such a passion project of mine where it's like, you know what? I just want to wrench and write a little bit of code that does something simple and quick. I can write a little function over here and hook it up to a Blazor screen quickly. I can reformat some of the stuff. The dark mode on Clip Talk, I wrote in like 2 hours in an afternoon because it was like, I've already got all this built. Let me just add dark mode. It took me longer to build the stupid switch in the user interface than it was to write the CSS and get it formatted properly. Right? The little
There
thing
you
that
go. There
it
you go.
slides over gently, and then the menu disappears. It took me hours to build that. But the CSS, nothing to it. Got you excited to try Blazor? Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And thanks for a lovely evening. Excited to try Blazor. That's what we like to hear, isn't it?
Nice. Yeah, go check it out. So
Yeah.
the Dalek in the profile. There's a Dalek in the profile.
Yeah, there was.
Go back there. Was there a Dalek? I wasn't looking.
Where's the Dalek? Let's see if I can scroll here and find it. Here we go.
Oh my gosh, there's a
There's a
Dalek.
There it
Dalek.
is.
There's a Dalek.
Here I thought it was just like an air conditioner or something in the background. No. It wants to
Evil air
exterminate.
conditioner.
Right? That's a mean air conditioner you got there. So cool.
So
All
what
right.
days are you coding on Clip Talk on your channel?
Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. I'm doing that.
Awesome.
Mondays I'm on the Visual Studio channel and teaching C# basics. This coming week, I'm doing authentication and authorization, which is it's that scary topic because I know that whatever I write, our security officer Barry Dorans is going to look at and go, "It's crap. You didn't get that right at all. It's complete garbage." I'm like, "All right, Barry." He's such a friendly Scot.
Well, at least when I met him, he said nothing of the sorts.
He's so nice to some people. You actually work with him? Oh, forget it.
If this isn't a clip.
Yeah. Might send it to.
Post that right out there on on the Twitters. Let me see. How can you do a reminder for the stream? Oh, follow the streams. You click follow here on Coding After Work, or you can click follow. Why am I not following you? I thought I followed you. Or you can go over to C# Fritz, twitch.tv/C# Fritz. Click the little heart follow icon there, and you'll get on your phone. The Twitch app will now show you a schedule of when I'm planning to broadcast, and it'll give you a reminder whenever I go live. A notification will pop up on your phone. Awesome stuff.
Very nifty.
And speaking about that, we are going to stream the next time on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have Carl Franklin talking about a little bit more advanced scenarios with Blazor. So he's going to pull in Signal R and PWA and stuff like that.
Yeah. So bring your questions.
I need to do PWA with this. I don't have the manifest built just yet, so that it can be installed. So I think I'll be tuning in to make sure that I have the code written right for this thing. Not
Please,
nice.
but Clip Talk. So
The other thing.
the other thing that we were looking at. Very cool.
All right. Thank you
Here we
so
go.
much.
Yeah, I need to go to bed now too.
Really fun.
So.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was super fun.
Oh yeah.
And
a
thank you
blast.
everybody for joining in. And
Yeah,
hopefully we see you on Tuesday.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.